ago on this field, with Notre Dame's perfect season in the balance, Irish defense dug in for a goal line stand and a controversial ending to an epic overtime struggle.
Taylor, he stopped!
The ruling on the field, in fact, stands as called.
This year, Notre Dame has been driven by their dynamic quarterback, Everett Golson.
He's at the 5. Golson for the touchdown!
His accuracy and athleticism have helped carry the team to an unbeaten start.
This year, with that kid at quarterback, anything's possible.
But today, Golson and the Irish take on the nation's #1 defense.
It's intercepted. Stanford's defense with the pick.
In a game that brings the toughest test to each team so far, it's that time again. Time for Stanford and Notre Dame. It is time for the 14th ranked Stanford Cardinal visiting the 9th ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and another sellout crowd at Notre Dame Stadium as they welcome their unbeaten Irish home for the first time in nearly a month. Unbeaten at 4-0, but entering an October stretch that will determine if they stay in the championship playoff conversation. Brian Kelly's teams 15-1 in their last 16 games at home. And Everett Golson now 14-1 as a starter for the Irish, but he had 4 of the 5 turnovers last week as the Irish were able to beat Syracuse. And they take on a tough physical Stanford team, as always, 3-1. They handed Notre Dame its last loss last November. They lost to USC in their conference opener, but with that one loss, the Cardinal cannot afford to stumble again as they try to keep their championship playoff hopes alive. So out comes the Cardinal, and by the way, it's going to get to 90 degrees on the opposite end of the coast today in Palo Alto, where David Shaw, in his 4th season, leads the Cardinal. Back-to-back Pac-12 titles, back-to-back Rose Bowls. And there is Kevin Hogan, the quarterback for Stanford, who takes on that Irish defense in just a few minutes. And it is a great matchup. The Notre Dame offense, which has proven it can put some points on the board in a hurry, but they've got the #1 ranked defense in the country. Stanford #1 in scoring defense, passing defense, and total defense. Stanford has given up 26 points all season, so something has to give today as we send it down to Catherine Tappan.
Coach, you guys come into this stadium with the #1 ranked defense in the country. What is the biggest challenge you face in Notre Dame?
Well, containing a very athletic and accurate quarterback. The guy can change plays. He can make plays in the pocket and make plays out of the pocket.
You told us this week that your offense has been productive, but at times sloppy. What needs to change against a top 10 ranked opponent in the Irish?
Well, it's about consistency. It's about finishing drives in the end zone. It's about not going backwards. No negative plays, no turnovers. Just playing our style of football.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dan?
All right, Catherine, thank you very much. And Mike, wasn't it just about 75 degrees just a couple of days ago? Do we have enough clothing up here in the booth?
I think it's like 85 in Palo Alto right now. But think about the Stanford guys.
Yeah, it's a great day in college football. Lots of great matchups, including this one. As we mentioned, Notre Dame can put some points on the board in a hurry, but they have faced nothing like the defense that they're going to face today.
Yeah, and you know, it's an Everett Golson game. That's what it comes down to today, because the Stanford defense is so good when things start to break down, and trust me, they will. This kid needs to be special. He needs to win with his legs. He needs to win with his arms. He needs to showcase his improvisational skills. And I think, Danny, we're going to find out a lot about Everett Golson today.
All right, the Stanford defense, clearly the strength of the Cardinal, but the offense, even in the words of Coach David Shaw, has been sloppy at times. What's the key to get Stanford's offense back on track?
You know, they only have one really dynamic offensive player. That's Ty Montgomery, their wide receiver. Now, he's a wide receiver in name only. He lines up inside. He lines up outside. He lines up at tailback. He's their wildcat. He returns kicks and punts. But the problem for Stanford is if Notre Dame contains him, who steps up? Is it the quarterback Kevin Hogan? Is it Devin Kajust at wide receiver? Is it Michael Rector? Somebody's got to step up outside of Ty Montgomery and make a play.
And as you can see, they are bundled up at Notre Dame Stadium this afternoon, and the temperature only expected to get a lot colder. 39 degrees, wind chill 31, wind at 15 miles an hour, but it's gusting at times to 30, and the forecast is for more showers as Stanford wins the toss, and they will receive, and that means that Ty Montgomery is going to have a chance to get his hands on the ball and put Stanford into good field position once again, like he has done seemingly time after time. 8 kickoff returns of 50+ yards since 2012. Kyle Brunza putting it in play for the Irish, and it's another strong kick by Brunza as Stanford will bring it out to the 25 to begin. And here comes Kevin Hogan. Golson had his fair share of turnovers last week, but so did Hogan. A couple last week in the escape from Seattle to beat Washington 20-13. Hogan was the difference maker down the stretch as he ran it in from 5 yards to give Stanford the win in their first win in the Pac-12 early in the season. So Hogan also very effective as a starter. 19-4 leading Stanford.
Dan, their defense is so good. He's very conservative with the football. His job is not to lose the game on offense.
And the first carry of the game belongs to Ramon Wright, who maybe gets 1.5 yards or 2.
Dan, I'm laughing because that's such David Shaw. The first snap of the game, they take their left guard, Joshua Garnett. They line him up in the backfield with an extra offensive lineman, and they're saying, guess what, fellas, we're coming right after you physically.
That's been the nature of these games through the years. Tough, physical battles, and with the weather today, we expect it to be even more physical. So 2nd down and 8 on the opening drive of the game. And there's a quick hit to the far side to Montgomery as they try to increase his touches, but Matthias Farley is there to bring him down. And that'll bring up 3rd and long.
It's critical to contain Ty Montgomery. He gets about 10 touches a game outside of the return game. And I think one of the biggest keys to this game is whether or not Notre Dame can contain him on those touches.
And there is Montgomery over slotted to the right on 3rd and 7.
Officials timeout. Play clock at 25 seconds, please.
You know, Dan, in the 2 games that they played Pac-12 opponents, Washington and USC, Ty Montgomery carried the ball 3 times on reverses. He lined up at slot. They did all kinds of different things to find the football. Now he's into the boundary.
He's at the top of the screen on 3rd and 7.
Here comes Notre Dame.
Notre Dame showing pressure and bringing it. Hogan with a quick release, incomplete. He wanted Michael Rector, and Stanford will have to punt it away.
Wanted Michael Rector, who's got elite speed, but only 6 catches on the year. This ball's thrown behind him on a slant route. Got no chance to make a play, and that's one of the things about this quarterback. I think he's a solid college quarterback, but I don't think he's a difference maker.
So it's a chance for the Irish to get some good field position on their opening drive. Cody Riggs stands back at his 35 as Ben Ryan sends it his way. A flag is thrown at the 25. Riggs standing in at the 32 and fumbles the ball and gets back on top of it at the 33.
Illegal formation. 5 players in the backfield at the snap. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Now, one of the things we haven't mentioned with this weather, Dan, is ball security. You just saw it on the punt return with Riggs. And obviously it's misting, it's rainy. Thankfully there's the new turf surface here so they can still play quick and fast, but ball security is at a premium on a day like today.
And so no surprise that Cam McDaniel
Exactly.
Gets the start at running back. He's to the left of Golson, who's coming off a Jekyll and Hyde type of game last week against Syracuse. They won it 31-15, but Golson again with 4 of the 5 turnovers. First play of the game is a pass, and Will Fuller is out of bounds. Fuller with a breakout game last week against Syracuse.
The question heading into the season was which wide receiver was going to step up. Was it going to be Chris Brown, Amir Carlisle, C.J. Prosise? And it's really been Will Fuller. Against Syracuse a week ago, had a big game, over 100 yards, couple touchdowns.
2nd down and 10. This is McDaniel, and we asked Coach Kelly about the running back rotation this week. He says, we're going McDaniel. It's that kind of game. Tough, physical. Stanford, he's the guy for now to start.
And it's a conversation of production, which this kid has demonstrated, and he's a captain, versus potential. Greg Bryant has tremendous potential, but I think they trust this kid in all phases of the game.
So on 3rd and 7, here comes the pressure, and Golson just is able to get it away just in time. But that'll bring up 4th down. So the pressure came to Golson's right, and he never had a chance.
Yeah, they had pressure, and Matt Hagerty's going to lose inside, immediately up in the middle, and Vaughters came from the outside. Tremendous pressure, and Stanford on 3rd down is one of the toughest teams in the country. You've got to be prepared for all kinds of exotic blitzes.
So the offense is still out there on the field as they're out of field goal range.
Big play here, and they've got a big stack down at the bottom. 3 wide receivers, actually 2 wide receivers and a tight end.
Yeah, they're bunched at the bottom of the screen on 4th and 7.
And there's confusion because that's Cam McDaniel at the top of the screen. They had to get lined up correctly.
Golson with a quick hit over the middle, incomplete. He wanted Fuller, but Stanford's going to take over on downs. 11:20 left in the opening quarter. Notre Dame and Stanford scoreless at Notre Dame Stadium. Some of the scenes from some hardy tailgaters this afternoon. Rain has been falling now for about an hour or so. And again, the forecast is for more on a chilly day in South Bend. Good field position here for Stanford at their own 38. First down line brought to you by the UPS store. As Kevin Hogan and the Cardinal begin their 2nd series of the game. This is Kelsey Young, brought down by Jalen Smith. And Stanford, a lot like Notre Dame, Mike, is into this running back by committee. 3 or 4 running backs a game get carries.
And it's not the typical Stanford tailback that we're used to. The 220-pound Toby Gerhardt, the Tyler Gaffney. It's 3 or 4 undersized guys that they use in different roles.
And right now there's Ramond Wright. And 2nd down and 7. And Montgomery up the middle there for a gain of 6.
Now the theory behind Wildcat is you get an extra blocker in the game. Watch 36 Lee Ward come across along with 57 Caspers. 36 in the hole, really good block. And again, there's a wide receiver lined up at tailback, coming downhill, dropping his pad level, and picking up the 1st down.
And so the ball is at the 48. Another 1st down for Stanford. 1st and 15. They dump off the screen here to Patrick Scove. And Scove is brought down by Jalen Smith. Good gain of 17.
You know, it's play action, and it's really a misdirection screen. They're going to get everybody going to the defense's left and then come back, pulling offensive linemen. Look at Andrus Peat, the big tackle. They've got both tackles out there ahead of the screen pass. Really well set up and a good-looking drive, except for that offsides for Stanford.
Patrick's brother Shane was a big Stanford star who had some good games against Notre Dame. Hogan going to the air again down the far sideline, and it's right into the arms at the 9-yard line by Cole Luke. Intercepted. Hogan just floated it out there, and Luke just picked it off effortlessly. So the first turnover of the game goes Notre Dame's way.
And they're trying to get the football to Ty Montgomery. Luke is staying off of him with Montgomery inside along with Redfield. Effectively, that's a bracket coverage. He's going to stare it down again. He gets hit, but you can't try to fit that into bracket coverage. It's not there.
So the Irish will try to take advantage of the turnover by Stanford with 4:41 left. Tarian Folston is now in there alongside Golson as they begin this series. And Golson looking for yardage on the right side. Ball is loose. And the indication is that Stanford has it. They do. So the first play after the turnover, the Irish turn it right back.
I think it was Ronnie Harris with the hit. Now this is a planned quarterback run. And when he breaks it out, and I think he should have broken it inside. There was a hole inside, but Ronnie Harris, the corner, did a heck of a job. Watch the hit he puts on the football. Ball's out. Stanford did not get a turnover on defense against Washington or USC. Turns it over late in the first quarter. Heck of a play by Ronnie Harris and a bad read by the quarterback.
And another fumble by Golson. He had 3 last week and lost 2 of them. And now Stanford with a good chance here. Montgomery trying to move the pile inside the 10. And so another turnover by Golson. In the words of Brian Kelly last week, he looked like a point guard dribbling down the middle of the field sometimes, not taking great care of the ball. He was popped pretty good on that last play, though.
Yeah, but you've got to protect the football. He knows that. Now, for Stanford, this has been the bane of their existence against the 2 teams that were good on their schedule, Washington and USC. They've been anemic in the red zone. They're 3 for 10 touchdowns in the red zone against those 2 teams. To win games, they have to finish these drives.
2nd and 8. Here's Hogan, and he's going into the end zone for the score for Stanford.
Kevin Hogan, 12 yards for a Stanford touchdown.
Hogan did a heck of a job. He faked a pitch. It's just a very subtle movement, faking the pitch to number 39, Kelsey Young. Watch the Notre Dame, all 3 Notre Dame defenders went for the fake, and he did a nice job. Watch him, little pump and inside. Really nice job by the quarterback, and that's what he does well. He runs the football.
Had the game winner last week against Washington with less than 5 minutes to go, and he opens up the scoring here with less than 4 minutes left in the first. So Notre Dame in that position that they really haven't been in very often this season, trailing as Stanford takes advantage of the Golson fumble and opens the scoring with Kevin Hogan. 7-0 Cardinal. So Kevin Hogan takes it in to open up the scoring for Stanford. And Notre Dame will get another crack after the latest Golson turnover, which propelled Hogan into the end zone there. And this is Amir Carlisle, who elects to take a knee. Carlisle back after a knee injury, had him sit out the Syracuse game. Chris Brown hauls it in Cardinal territory for a gain of 21.
So Chris Brown ran a 10.8 100 meters in high school. People know he has elite speed. You can see number 2 Wayne Lyons turn and run. Doesn't expect him to pull it back, and a really good job coming back to the football. And Folston at tailback, one of the things he needed to improve coming into the season was protecting his quarterback, and he got Hoffpower on the backside to protect him.
Heck of a block by Folston. And so that's the end of the first quarter. With Stanford leading 7-0. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local NBC station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC, presented by Coke Zero. Much different position for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is the first time that they have trailed after the first quarter this season. 7-0 Stanford as we begin the second quarter. Notre Dame at the 48, and good yardage for C.J. Prosise. Actually, Chris Brown, as a flag comes in deep down in the territory, and they're inside the 10. Chris Brown was leading the charge down the sideline blocking.
But the second key.
After the conclusion of the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Number 8 of the defense, half the distance from the goal. First down.
It's on Jordan Richards.
Watch Tarian Folston right here get the lead block as they hand the ball off to Procise. Gets the block on the strong safety, Hoffbauer, and a nice job by Procise taking it, making the cut to the sidelines, getting up the field, and then the late hit by Richards, the captain. He barely touched him. Pretty good acting job by Procise.
So a gain of 26, and then the penalty tacked on. So 1st and 10 at the 11. Golson flushed out to his left, trying to buy some more time, and then just throwing it away. So they had Golson on the run there.
You know, Dan, up until that last run play by Procise, they had 7 rushes, Notre Dame, for 7 yards. And historically, the team that wins the line of scrimmage in the rushing battle has won this football game. Notre Dame has not been able to run the football until that play. And they incorporated a wide receiver in to do it.
Just about even on rushing yards right now. As Golson has Folston to his left. On 2nd and 10. And here is Folston looking for a hole down to the 6. Kyle Olabode brings down Folston after a gain of 5.
And talking about the rushing yards, the only year that Notre Dame has been competitive rushing the football was 2012 in the last 5 years, and that was the year they were able to win the football game. The battle of the line of scrimmage is critical historically in this game.
So 3rd down and 5. Now Golson looking to the sidelines.
They've got trips to the top of the screen, tight bunch out wide. 3-on-3, and now Stanford's bringing a 4th man out there.
Golson looking over to the left. Chased out again. And that ball was taken by Jordan Richards.
It's called an interception.
Is it called an interception?
Yep.
Wow. Dove in there across the sideline. And it is a pick by Richards, the captain. So the 2nd turnover by Golson, a fumble, and then now this interception that,
wow, heck of a play by Jordan Richards, and as long as he controlled it before his shoulder touched out of bounds, it's a good play. Does he have control before that elbow shoulder goes out of bounds?
And Stanford starting at their own 2 after the Richards interception. Trying to get some cushion here is Ramond Wright, but not much, maybe a yard.
They've got their big package in. Number 98, David Bright, is over here. Big people all across. They've got 4 offensive tackles in the game there, and what a big hit there by Notre Dame. Joe Schmidt at the point of attack.
Schmidt continuing to be impressive. Former walk-on who was all over the field last week against Syracuse. 2nd leading tackler on the team for Notre Dame. 2nd down and 9. And they keep it on the ground again. Maybe another yard as Wright gets no further.
Danny, 2 of the top defenses are playing in the country today. Notre Dame's defense is playing at an exceptional level. Ryan Van Gorder's done a great job. And obviously for Stanford, Lance Anderson in that defense, which average, they give up 6.5 points a game. Notre Dame's given up, what, under 12 a game. It's fun to watch this.
Tremendous respect from offensive coordinator for Stanford, Mike Bloomgren, on Brian Van Gorder's defense. He said they're coming everywhere on us. We know that, NFL style, like by Van Gorder. On 3rd down, Hogan rifles it incomplete. That was Cody Riggs on the coverage of Ty Montgomery. And so Stanford will be kicking out of its own end zone here.
Brian Van Gorder brought pressure. It's man coverage on the outside. Riggs has got the best change of direction of any of the corners. That was tight coverage. The ball was thrown in a catchable place, low and outside, but a tough ball on any day, let alone a wet day like today.
So Ben Ryan just about a yard behind him to the end of the end zone. And a low kick that Riggs is able to handle. and runs into his own player at about the 38-yard line. Rain continuing to fall, and even harder. Temperatures plunging. Notre Dame down 7-0.
Torrey Hunter in the game.
It is Folston. Bulls ahead for the first down. Up, ball on the ground, and Stanford's indicating that they have it, but now it's a first down call, so no fumble, gain of 7 for Folston, and Shaw has his arms out as if to say, what was that? Approaching the 4-minute mark of the opening half.
At some point, Everett Golson's got to start taking this game over for Notre Dame. Improvisation, move, use your legs, get involved here.
That ball is low. Skipped in there to Chris Brown, incomplete.
And you know, Doug Flutie talked earlier about Golson having an ability to throw the football in the rain, but that time there was a receiver open, Doug, and he didn't even get the ball there.
No doubt about it. The wind is blowing in his face now, so this quarter's going into the wind a little bit more. But what's happening is they're afraid to put the ball into tight windows because it's snapping through the receiver's hands.
Pocket caves in, and that is slapped down at the line of scrimmage, as Golson took some big-time heat.
Now they moved Matt Hagerty to center. Remember, he played last season, the last 3 games of the year in the bowl game. 77. Perry with a great swim move right over Hagerty's head. Golson had no chance right that time, and it was Chateau that knocked it down.
It was David Perry applying the pressure, and Aziz Chateau who got the deflection. So 3rd down and 10 as you look at the line, brought to you by the UPS store. And that's a design run by Golson, and that's going to give him some cushion big time. Golson in a foot race now is brought down all the way down at the Cardinal 17 by Ola Bode, but not before a gain of 35.
And with all that 3-man rush, the great call there by Brian Kelly is quarterback draw against the 3-man. Watch them all dropping out. Wide open. Hagerty gets the easy block on Martinez, and now watch him protect the football at the end of this. Really good call.
It's almost as if he said the ball's so slippery, receivers having a hard time, Golson's having a hard time throwing it. Let's just have him run one. And the big gain sets up Notre Dame with a good opportunity here. Another one skipped in well short of Fuller.
He's having some trouble throwing the football, and I think he's lost some confidence. Kelly's all the way out in the field talking to him.
By the way, Fuller doesn't have a single catch.
Hit a drop early.
Had the breakout game last week, 119 yards receiving. There's Golson, who has a tendency not to put his hands on the laces. It looked like he had his hands on the laces that time.
It's like Doug Flutie always says, there's a reason they have laces on the football.
It's been one of the things that Golson has grown up as a quarterback, not putting him on there. But now we have a completion to Chris Brown, and now we've got a Notre Dame touchdown. So Golson's legs get him down there close enough for a 17-yard score to Brown.
Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, is going to pick up the blitz. Right there, gives Golson a chance to step up and complete the crossing route underneath Chris Brown. Dances into the end zone.
First touchdown of the season for Brown. Brinza's extra point is good. And with just more than 3 minutes left, the Irish finally get on the board. In a driving rain, Everett Golson with a big run sets up his latest touchdown pass to Chris Brown. On this Saturday afternoon in South Bend, on a chilly Saturday, Notre Dame has just tied it up 7-7. 3:06 left. And they're back deep. The big threat, Montgomery and McCaffrey.
Notre Dame's answer is on their kickoff coverage team. They've got starters like Jalen Smith, Shoemate, Farley, Tarian Folston, Procise, they're all out there because they think it's just another extended defensive play because of the explosiveness of number 7.
Yeah, Kelly called it augmented coverage. This is a kind of a pop-up by Brunza. That's one way to keep it out of the
exactly
hands
right.
of Montgomery, huh?
Yep.
So Stanford at the 35 with 1:07 to work with. Hogan out of the shotgun, has pressure, and down he goes at the 25 by a flashing Jalen Smith.
A little bit of an overload blitz from the boundary side. Jalen Smith, who's the best athlete on this Notre Dame team. Here's Jalen Smith. He's coming along with Shoemate.
Loss of 9 as Stanford gets it back out across the 30. Ramon Wright. But now there's just 30 seconds left. 3rd and 14.
Yeah, once you get sacked like that in this kind of weather.
Yep. It's time to shut it on down here, huh?
Yeah, let's get in the locker room, get a little hot chocolate and talk about this thing.
So Stanford defense, the vaunted Cardinal defense, allows just its 3rd touchdown of the year. And they have given up all of 6 points in the second half this season. So with the weather and the way it's gone for Notre Dame's offense against this tough Stanford defense, you can imagine it is going to be tight in the second half. Not a lot of scoring. Just like we saw in the opening half. The Irish will get their hands on the ball to begin the second half. So 7-7 Notre Dame and Stanford. Catherine.
Coach, tough weather conditions out here. How has that affected your play calling today?
Well, you know, I think just the turnovers have been the biggest thing. You know, we've moved the ball okay against a very good defense, but it's been really the 2 turnovers that have been the difference in the missed field goal.
These conditions certainly difficult for a quarterback as well. How do you think Everett Golson's handled the challenge?
Well, again, it's not easy. He's thrown the ball fairly effectively. We've made some plays, but again, we're playing a very good defense, and you know the conditions aren't great, but you still have to take care of the football against a very good defense.
Coach, thank you. Dan.
Thanks, Catherine. Tied at 7. Coming up next, the Discover Card halftime report as we go to Jimmy Roberts in our NBC studio. And we expect the weather to continue to be a factor. Temperatures now into the 30s. Wind chills plunging around 30 degrees. As we take a look at the Coke Zero first half stats. The turnovers, they're going to tell the story. You just get the feeling in the second half. Golson with a couple of turnovers and Stanford also with 1.
46 rushing yards for Stanford on 19 carries. Brian Van Gorder's defense outstanding in the first half.
And what did Brian Kelly tell us yesterday? He said we will not win this game unless we get some big chunk plays. We're not going to score enough if we're just getting a few yards a pop down the field. And they got the big chunk by Golson, the big run of 35 yards, and we'll see if they get enough of them.
Keep in mind, Stanford's only touchdown drive is 9 yards after the Golson fumble.
Jordan Williamson to put it in play for Stanford. His kickoffs have been excellent this year. Really strong leg, and he backs up Carlisle deep into the end zone, and Notre Dame's going to come out to the 25. Let's check in with Catherine.
Dan, I spoke to David Shaw just now coming out of the tunnel, and he said he's happy with his team's performance, especially defensively. He loved the way they were able to get that interception at the goal line in the first half. As for his quarterback, Kevin Hogan, he said he's seen a little bit of up and down performance from him, and the weather conditions, he said, are actually not a factor for Stanford in this game, which is surprising, guys. They didn't practice with any wet balls this week in Palo Alto. It's been 90 degrees there. They haven't seen rain in over 5 months, but they seem to be controlling the ball here pretty well. Guys.
Nothing seems to faze that guy Shaw. I mean, is that as calm and cool of a coach that you've ever met?
Yeah, that's him.
Tarian Folston gets the first carry of the second half.
You know, David Shaw's father, Willie Shaw, coached for 33 years with 2 stints at Stanford, and we talked to Coach Shaw and asked him about the fact that his office is right next door to the defensive coordinator's office, which is the Willie Shaw defensive coordinator office room, and it was endowed by an anonymous donor, and he just said it was so cool to go to work like that every day.
Play action, Golson to the air for the first time, and it's Carlisle who breaks free of one defender and quickly gets into Stanford territory. There's a big chunk in a big gain.
Talk about chunks, and we just talked about Amir Carlisle back for this game after straining an MCL. He's the inside receiver. Play action. Oh, both linebackers bid up. You had a gap between the linebackers and the safety, Olabude, and Golson put it right on him. I thought that was his best throw of the day right there.
That was a bullet, good for 26 yards, and Notre Dame sets up at the Stanford 47. Golson to the air on first down. It's a high throw. Carlisle is unable to jump up and get it. 2nd and 10.
Doug Flutie in our break was talking about which direction the wind was going into, and Doug, that time that ball floated a little bit. Is he throwing it into the wind there?
He's going directly into the wind there. On that throw, a little touch throw, the ball's going to float on you. And Kevin Hogan made a few nice throws with the wind at his back. His best throw with the wind directly at his back, moving right to left. So, you know, use the win when you have it and work the clock when you don't.
Every top quarterback I've ever talked to, and Doug will throw you in there, I guess, if we have to.
if we got to lump you in, Doug.
Don't throw hard. Don't throw me too hard.
Up the middle is McDaniel again driving the pile close to the 40. That'll bring up 3rd down.
But, Doug, every quarterback I've ever talked to has said that it's much more difficult to throw in wind than it is in rain or snow. Do you agree with that?
No doubt about it. The wind's the biggest factor. And what ends up happening when you're having the wind in your face and tough throws, you want to throw to the middle of the field where the ball's covering shorter distance.
Big 3rd down and 5 here. Golson just kind of gets wrapped up with McDaniel there in the backfield, and that is a loss. As it looked like he might have wanted to take it out of McDaniel's belly, and then McDaniel ended up just taking it and getting caught.
Yeah, Kevin Anderson basically just won one-on-one. Kevin Anderson right up here beats the down block by Koyak, makes the hit in the backfield. Obviously a disconnect with the quarterback who's reading whether or not he's going to pull it. I think Everett wanted the football,
and like, no,
and the captain said, it's mine.
I'm going to make a carry here. I'm taking that. So 4th and 7 after the loss of 2. Brunza's punt.
There you go.
Over there on the left side, keeping it away from
7.
Yep. So Brunza's doing his job this afternoon. 7-7 tie. 6:05 left in the 3rd. Take a look at our quarterback comparison brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company. Both Hogan and Golson with an interception. Golson again way off the record numbers last week, 11 of 26 through the air. Hogan 11 of 24. But again, weather and the Stanford defense has had a lot to do with that. So here's Hogan and the Cardinal beginning of the 15. Less than a minute remains in the 3rd quarter. Young stopped behind the line of scrimmage by a trio of Irish defenders led by Trumbetti. We had the big sack earlier.
And Notre Dame recognizes this is an unbalanced line. They have an extra tackle over on the other side, and Notre Dame shuffled to their right accordingly, just overpowering at the point of attack. They're defeating blocks. They're understanding where the unbalanced lines are. Both defenses outstanding today.
Yeah, Stanford got the top billing, of course, leading the nation in a number of categories. But Stanford offense today, 11 possessions, 7 3-and-outs. And Notre Dame looking for another one here. 2nd and long, they swing it out to Montgomery, who leaps over an Irish defender. Shows his athletic ability. Gets some airtime and gets 4 yards.
They brought him all the way across. They're trying for any creative way to get him the ball in his hands all the way across. One-on-one tackle. He tries to jump over Riggs, gets him by the ankle.
Superman.
Look at that. Supposed to have a 40-inch vertical.
4 catches, but just 12 yards for Montgomery. So Kelly and Van Gordon, the defense, have really held Montgomery in check. So the end of 3. Notre Dame 7, Stanford 7 will return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your NBC local station. You're watching Notre Dame football, presented by Coke Zero. Look at the Coke Zero score by quarters. Not a lot of it. Stanford with a touchdown in the first, Notre Dame with one in the second, and after a scoreless third quarter, big 3rd down and 7 here for Hogan and the Cardinal. Feels the pressure coming up the middle, gets rid of it, and it appeared it was intercepted by Cole Luke, who saunters into the end zone. And Shaw is in the face there of one of the officials.
Joe Schmidt got tremendous pressure on the quarterback.
But he's ruled down, I believe.
Oh, he's down. There's no doubt.
No doubt. Notre Dame fans got all whipped up into a frenzy. Little contact there. And a little juggling of the football. Juggle here by Luke in between the legs.
It's a great job by Luke, because he's got as much right to the football as Stanford does. Ooh, I don't know if that right hand is under it. It might be.
Around. So it stays in the ball.
That's a great play by that kid.
Second interception in his career, both today. So the Luke pick sets up Notre Dame at the 29-yard line. Golden opportunity here for the Irish to take the lead for the first time. Golson going down to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Fuller, the deep threat.
Double move after a turnover. That's a classic coach call right there. Sudden change. You try to take advantage of it. I thought Doug Flutie, I thought the ball came out a little bit late. I thought he had him and he allowed the safety to get over top.
Yeah, the safety was reading his eyes the whole way. He kept his head out to the right side. On a double move, you got to freeze that safety somehow and keep him away from this play.
And again, on that throw, roll out to the left, Golson was late. Amir Carlisle undercut and was open if he gets the ball out of his hands more quickly.
So that brings up 3rd and 10.
Going to roll to his left. Got to get the shoulder square, and he's about 2 or 3 steps too late on that. Ball's way out of bounds. Carlisle had a couple yards on the defender.
Neither team very successful on 3rd down conversions. Again, the weather having a lot to do with that. And Golson to the near sideline, and a flag comes in as Torrey Hunter hauls it in. Wayne Lyons on the coverage.
I think they were both surprised that Golson threw that football. Really good coverage by Lyons.
Big reception there by Hunter, even though he was interfered with by Lyons.
Bottom of the screen, press coverage, ball's thrown back at the sidelines. Lyons never got his head around. If he sees the football, he could have made a play on it. So he didn't see it till the very end. I'm not sure he's holding them right there. That's why they called it. He's got that left arm bar.
So after the 1st and 10, back on the ground they go to McDaniel. But Hunter, a welcome presence for Notre Dame's offense. So now they got pretty much the full complement except for Tavares Daniels, who continues to be held out because of the academic investigation. But Hunter gives a chance for them to give Will Fuller a breather. Will Fuller had been used almost on every play last couple of games or so, and Kelly said it was nice to have Hunter back in there to kind of give him a breather, give him some fresh legs when it matters late in the game.
Here they come.
And here they come. Everybody coming. Golson is able to get rid of it to Procise, and putting a big hit on him is Hoffpower.
They brought both linebackers up, and this is what's called a tunnel screen. The linemen all move to the right, and the wide receiver's supposed to get in behind him. Watch these linebackers come in here, and all the linemen take off to the right. But Stanford just does a great job on the outside also, and at the very end, Hoffpower cleans it up.
a loss of 2 after the big hit by Hoffpower. So now it's 3rd and 10. Ball back at the 17 of Stanford. Irish trying to take advantage of this interception. Golson, there's one complete to Fuller, tries to put on some moves at the 15, short of the first down by a long way. And that'll bring a 4th down and 3 at the 10.
Bringing the field goal unit on. Remember last time they had a little problem on the field goal, though the holder mishandled it, Hunter Smith.
This will be a 27-yard attempt by Brinza to try and give Notre Dame its first lead of the game. There is Hunter Smith, number 99, the holder, who had to get through his hands earlier. And he also had problems with it. Never even got a couple hands on it and get it down. So Notre Dame's going to come up empty, and Stanford comes all the way upfield.
It's Hunter Smith again. It was a good snap. That's 2 drops by Hunter Smith.
Wow. Never could get it down. That ends up being returned 39 yards back the other way. So Stanford with good field position as Notre Dame comes up empty. So Brinza, for the 2nd time today, never gets a chance to get the field goal off. And we've got Tyler Newsome taking some snaps on the sideline. He's the backup punter kicker. And Hunter Smith is the guy that hasn't been able to keep an eye on it to get it down for Brinza. As Stanford begins incomplete, intended for Montgomery.
Now, in college, I held extra points in field goal. And on cold days, I always thought it was a huge advantage to be an active player in the game because I was warm. I was used to being out there. My hands were fine. These guys that are punters, place kickers that come in and hold, I think it's a distinct disadvantage. And Doug, I don't know if you ever held, but
absolutely, I agree 100%. In fact, in Calgary, we had a guy coming off the bench to hold that cost us a playoff game. I held ever since because I like being warm and then holding.
Well, right now, Hunter Smith is the loneliest guy on the football field. Tied at 7. This is Montgomery with another touch, but he's dropped behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. And by the way, the 39-yard blocked field goal return is the longest play of the game today that we just saw.
That's crazy. What are you doing with my...
So Montgomery gets another touch, but he loses yardage, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 12 for Stanford. Hogan across the middle. It was fluttering from the get-go, intended for Cajuste. And Stanford will have to punt it away, so they can't take advantage of the field goal muff by Notre Dame.
Cajuste running a deep in route. Farley does a poor job in coverage, but it didn't matter because the ball was so poorly overthrown.
Shaw talked about it with us. He said that Hogan has, improved his long-range throwing. And again, with the weather like it is, it's not easy to keep a firm grip on it, whether you're taking the snap from a long snapper. And there's another bobble by Riggs. He's able to hold on and keep it in Notre Dame's hands. They'll begin at the 22. 7-7 after a scoreless third. 11-11 left as Riggs is just barely able to hold on. Tied at 7, 11-11 left in the game. Here comes the pressure again. Golson eludes it, fires back across his body to Corey Robinson. Robinson thinks he got it.
It looked like a scoop. Off his back foot, across the middle.
No, there's no way he got that. Although the official put the ball down there for what would be a gain of 13. And here's Bryant. Strung way out to the sideline before Jordan Richards chases him out.
So disciplined and well coached. Richards, a strong safety, plays off the cut block, keeps contained.
I was just going to say earlier, Mike, you know, speaking of controversy, this game has a little bit of the feel and the look. It rained a couple of years ago here at Notre Dame Stadium before that overtime dramatic win by Notre Dame. It was a game that Golson got knocked out of, and Tommy Rees led the team down there in overtime, and they ended up winning the game.
I'd like to see somebody make a play rather than this thing decided on drop field goal holds and stuff like that.
2nd and 12. Golson near the marker, and Corey Robinson for a gain of 13. Alex Carter on the coverage, but Robinson with a couple of huge key catches here.
And they're going to tack on another 15, I think.
Personal foul, face mask, number 25 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that means it's a 28-yard play with 15 yards tacked on courtesy of Carter.
Big body comes back, catches the football at the very end. I don't know if he got the face mask. He was up around the helmet. These last couple calls, well, he's on the mask there. Boy, it's close.
And Notre Dame is at the Stanford 35. Golson dancing around, buying more time, has pressure. Now what is he going to do? Just lopped it out of bounds. Nine minutes left. Brian Kelly looking at that play chart. Again, he calls the plays now. On 2nd and 10, what's he going to draw up?
Robinson's been the hot hand so far on this drive.
McDaniel pounds for maybe one.
Henry Anderson is everywhere. Good football player. That time he basically just stood up the right tackle, Christian Lombard, shed him, and made the tackle. 6'6", 287. Look at the helmet, Dan.
That shows you a little bit about Henry.
That's old school, man.
That is mangled.
That is. Look at the Cardinal's name hanging down over his eyes.
So 3rd down and 9. Golson pulls it in, takes a little hop, buys some more yardage, and is short of the first down.
They're going to have to make a decision here. That got them close enough to think about this thing. 4th down, you haven't been able to even hold a field goal, let alone kick one.
But here comes Brinza, and there is 99, Hunter Smith. Back in to give it another go. Again, they warmed up Tyler Newsome, who took some snaps, but here is Smith, who's botched a couple, and now this is a 45-yard attempt by Brinza.
Was he wearing gloves the first 2 times? He's got gloves on now.
This time he puts it down, and Brinza's big leg gives Notre Dame its first lead of the game. A booming 45-yarder to make it 10-7.
We talked about being warm and holding. The first 2 times he held, he had bare hands. This time goes with the gloves. It gets down cleanly. Brinza nails it, and Notre Dame has a lead.
Hunter, 2 gloves. Smith securely puts it down for Brinza. Rain is held off a little bit more right now, but it was also a rainy night in South Bend 2 years ago when we had that epic overtime struggle that still stings Stanford fans. So now Notre Dame with its first lead of the game and 7.5 minutes to go. Kicking off to Ty Montgomery. Low driving kick. Montgomery's going to take it 2 yards out. First time he's going to have a chance on the kickoff, and there is what Montgomery does so well. Brings it all the way up to the 40-yard line. By the way, 42-yard return there by Montgomery. It's the first time he's handled either a punt or a kickoff return today.
And a graphic example of why.
And he's got the Cardinals set up at the 42. Good field position. Hogan swings that big arm, and that is caught for a first down. Gain of 12.
Yeah, they're attacking Matthias Farley a little bit, and I think Kajust has an advantage in athleticism and size over Farley right here. Farley's pretty good at the blitzing, but sometimes gets caught in man coverage. They're helping him underneath with Trumbetti. That was a good throw. Well-located throw.
Kajust. Well, if you know anything about the Stanford wide receivers, they'll say that Kajust is the fastest wideout on the team. We know that Rector can fly, but Kajust with his third catch of the game, and it sets up Stanford in Notre Dame territory at the Irish 46. Kelsey Young pushes it close to the 40 for a good game. That'll bring up 2nd and 4.
Notre Dame's done a heck of a job in their run defense. Haven't given up any big plays on the back end.
Stanford averaging 1.9 yards a rush. Again, all the running backs came in averaging more than 4. So the Notre Dame defense has been up to the challenge. Hogan steps back and fires near side, and there is Rector.
Free Rector.
Cody Riggs on the coverage, but that is the very first catch for Rector. First in almost 3 games now.
I think the ball that the quarterback Hogan throws the best, he likes that slant. We've talked about how he's a one side of the field read guy, stares it down and drives it. He's got pretty good arm strength.
So Rector picks up the first down, as this first down line is brought to you by the UPS store. Stanford up the middle, trying to get that big physical push. Jalen Smith pushing right back for Notre Dame.
Jalen Smith is getting better and better as an inside linebacker. That time he took on a big offensive lineman, shed the block, and made the tackle.
Clock ticking down, just over 5 minutes remaining. Notre Dame trying to keep this season's perfect record alive and try to go to 5-0 and keep their name in the conversation for the first ever 4-team playoff. Stanford playing for its life here to try to stay in that conversation as well. 2nd down and 8. Flying in is Cody Riggs, and he's spun Hogan around. Somehow he frees himself and throws it away.
They were trying to set up a screen pass to the running back, Ramond Wright. Your offensive linemen have to be able to hold them up just for a little bit of time. Cody Riggs coming off the edge on the boundary side. The defensive linemen do a great job flashing to the screen. He can't get rid of the football. Relentless pressure by Notre Dame.
That would have been a loss of some 12, but still 3rd down and long, 3rd down and 8. Huge play here for Stanford. Hogan's pass, far sideline complete. Clutch connection there, close to the 10-yard line for a gain of 22 with Kajust.
Farley wasn't even close here, and that ball was thrown way up in the air. Watch how he beats Farley. This looks like the matchup they favored.
Oh, right there in double coverage, but Hogan is gutsy, he's gritty, and he's a winner. 19-4 as a starter, but also Mike 10-2 versus AP top 25 teams. Not the greatest thrower in the world, not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he is a winner, and he's trying to do it again today against 9th-ranked Notre Dame. He's going to run this left side. Jalen Smith scouted it out.
I think that was supposed to be an inside shovel, and the tailback never got there. Ricky Seal. He wants to shovel this inside. Ricky Seal's got to get over there quicker. He's late. Timing's off. Good job by the quarterback.
And remember, this is the red zone, the area where Stanford has struggled every single game. Just hasn't been able to get any touchdowns with about a 40% success rate.
Ty Montgomery in the backfield.
And the little pitch to Montgomery. And here comes Montgomery, and Notre Dame is up to the challenge. How about Elijah Shoemate knocking Montgomery out?
How about a great job scouting the offense of Stanford? Number 7 shows up in the backfield. It's been all option, toss, sweep. Notre Dame guys were flying to the football, knowing Montgomery was going to get it.
So it's 3rd and goal.
Now, Cajuste has been the guy in the matchup with Farley. Farley's out of the game now. Cole Luke is up top by himself right now. Let's see if they bring somebody up to help him with Montgomery.
And they hand it off up the middle, and there it goes right into the end zone.
Wow.
Wright bursts in from 11 yards out to give the Cardinal the lead.
Notre Dame dared them to run the football on 3rd down with 2 high safeties. They were going to double team both wide receivers, and I tell you, I give David Shaw and the quarterback, if he changed that at the line of scrimmage, a ton of credit for running the football in that situation.
First touchdown of the season for Wright, and boy is it a big one. Jordan Williamson for the point after to make it 14-10 Cardinal with 3:01 remaining.
Yeah, it's the right guard, Caspers, and the fullback who get on the 2 linebackers. The safeties are too high to make a play. Well done. It's going to come down to what we talked about at the very beginning. Can Everett Golson make a play to get them a win?
Rain picking up a little bit more when Notre Dame is going to get their hands on it. Amir Carlisle watches it go out of bounds, and it does, and that is a flag. So that's good field position at the 35-yard line. What's the game plan here, Coach?
Got plenty of time. You've got 3 timeouts left. Last possession, Corey Robinson was heavily involved, and I think that's what you're going to see is Golson in some of the short and intermediate stuff, and then whether or not he can use his legs to make plays on this last drive.
Swings it across the middle, and he wanted Robinson. Incomplete.
You know, that free safety, Stanford loves to close down the middle of the field with a free safety. Look how deep he is. He's all the way back here, and then the route was in here. He's late on the throw. Corner's way off, the safety's deep, the ball's thrown behind them. It's got to come out quicker.
And 2nd and 10. Golson comes near side to Fuller, and Fuller's got the first down. All the way up close, about the 47-yard line. Gain of 12 for Fuller, brought down by Lyons. That's the 3rd catch for Fuller on the day.
Conversely, that's a great throw. Back to back, that's Everett Golson late on the 1, and then he shows you that big arm for a first down on the 2nd one.
Clock rolling. 2.5 left. Quick drop. Again, that one's dropped a hair behind Carlisle, but another one that should have been caught.
Stanford knows that field goal can't beat them. They're laying off deep. Carlisle's got to catch that. That was a zone. Good read.
Second down and 10. Golson steps up in the pocket, and he overthrows Robinson.
Yeah, had a chance to make a play. They picked up blitz. Receiver was there. Ball sailed on him badly. Wide open, wide open.
Crowd has really gone quiet here. A little bit in shock with 2:26 to go. And now Notre Dame faced with a 3rd and 10.
That free safety was way back. They're challenging Notre Dame. Field goal can't beat us. You got to go the whole way.
Over the middle. This time Robinson holds on and gets some yards after the catch. Deep into Stanford territory at the 36 or 37. Jordan Richards on the stop. Gain of 17 for Robinson. 2:17, and now they wind it again after they move the chains.
Three-man pressure. That time Golson took his time. Corey Robinson again wide open as Stanford's playing very soft in the back end. Safety's at about 20 yards right now. Can't even see him on the screen.
Going deep down to Fuller. He's open, but they close on him. The ball was underthrown, and a couple of flags come in.
The Lions got beat deeply.
Pass interference. Number 2 of the defense.
But they closed on him.
Automatic first down.
Immediately, but interfered with Fuller on the bottom of the screen there.
That's called a sluggo. It's a slant and go.
Look how wide open he was.
In that particular situation, the defensive back cannot drive on the slant. I'm really surprised to see Wayne Lyons drive like that. Double move with less than 2 minutes left in the game. That's got to be an alert. The top of your mind. Double move, don't jump it, and then you panic because you're beat so badly. At least it's only a 15-yard penalty if you're a Stanford fan.
Yeah, critical call though there on Lyons. So now at the 22 with a 1st and 10. Golson looking for the short one. That is hauled in inside the 20 by Robinson. Clock continues to roll. 1:40 left.
I thought Blake Martinez was going to flash in front there. I don't think he wanted to interfere.
Robinson with his 4th catch today, all of them coming in this 4th quarter. That was a gain of 3, 2nd down and 7.
2 high safeties, very conservative.
And Golson just throws this one away. 3rd and 7. And Golson is down on his back.
Got hit by Kevin Anderson at the end. He's flowing to his left. He's in the air. There's nothing wrong with that hit.
Okay, you got Robinson set up to the near side here on the bottom of the screen. He's been the go-to guy now on 3rd and 7.
Got 2 downs to get 7. Plenty of time with timeouts.
Stanford showing pressure again. Golson recognizes it and runs into his own man. He had some daylight around him. But he loses 4.
And that's a quarterback draw the whole way, and it was there. But another great job. I think it was Perry, but I'm not sure. Watch him release down in here and block. Cam McDaniel's going to block. They double team. Henry Anderson. They had what they wanted, but he runs into his own man, Elmer, who gets jacked back into him.
And so that brings us to the play of the game on 4th and 11 with 1:09 left.
Oh, my.
4th down and 10. Call it a long 10.
Notre Dame's going to go empty, anticipating a 3-man rush, what they're going to get, which is what they're going to get. 5 receivers against 8 droppers.
They need to get close to the 10-yard line for a 1st down.
And a bust.
Golson going to the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Ben Koyak delivers with 1:01 left. "23 yards to Koyak on a 4th and 11.
There was a bust on this coverage early on in the play, and Koyak just sat and waited, and eventually they got to him. I don't know if it was the corner Wayne Lyons, but at the very beginning of the play, there was a bust. Nobody had deep half or deep third on Koyak.
Just the 2nd catch of the game for Koyak, but it is an ever huge 4th touchdown of his career, 1st this season. And now Brinza to make it a 17-14 Notre Dame lead with 1 minute left. Earlier we were talking about how Hogan's a winner. Boy, is Golson good in the clutch. 14-1 as a starter, looking to go 15-1. The big late clutch connection to Koyak to give the Irish a 3-point lead. Irish had the ball with 3 minutes to go. 2-minute scoring drive, 9 plays, 65 yards, and Notre Dame is back on top 17-14.
Kind of band caught it. I'd throw another flag on the band. My man, nice catch. Now, this game is not over, folks. There's a minute and 1 second. Stanford, Danny, has one timeout. They have not shown an ability to get vertically down the field at all. And Ty Montgomery's been contained thus far.
Here comes Sheldon Day around the corner. Hogan steps up, goes deep down the middle, just over the outstretched arms of Rector. And Shoemate was down there with him.
He had half a step. Perfect throw. Perfect throw, and it's there. It's man coverage deep. Shoemate gets out of his back pedal a little bit late. Perfect throw beats him.
Yeah, there's an example of those burners by Rector. He turned it on there, had the step or so on Shoemate, but 2nd down and 10 from their own 25. That one's complete. Kajus trying to get to that marker, and he's wrestled down by Cole Luke.
And they only have one timeout. The clock continues to roll because it was not a first down.
Still have the one timeout, 3rd and 3. That pass is complete for the first down to Jordan Pratt.
So the clock stops while they set the chains. Stanford's got to get up on the ball and go.
And then they'll wind it again. Again, one timeout left for the Cardinal.
Look at this. They're winding the clock. They're confused. Too much time.
Hogan just dumps it off short to right, and right is into Irish territory. Jalen Smith brought him down, so a gain of 14. Clock with 11 seconds left. They still have that timeout that they just took. And for the gain of 13, Shaw takes a breather here to look things over.
There's not a whole lot of plays with 11 seconds. You know, but the good news is for Stanford is a field goal ties it. You don't have to go the whole way. So what's the maximum distance here for your field goal kicker? Remember, Jordan Williamson came into the game 4 for 8 with a long of 35.
Yep, he's been inconsistent. 4 of 8 on the year. Hasn't made one past 40 this year. 0 for 2 in that category. A career long 48 twice, including one against Notre Dame.
So to give him an opportunity from 48, they've got to get to the 30. They've got approximately plus or minus 20 yards to go to give him any kind of realistic shot. 11 seconds, no timeouts.
Up the middle, and Hogan just desperately gets it away. That was Shoemate just flying up the middle on Hogan. The clock stopped with 6 seconds remaining.
Tremendous blitz, same as they did earlier in the game. The linebackers X-stunt, and in behind it comes the safety through the same gap.
And a flag is down, and Hogan's going to get called for intentional grounding here as Shoemate just came blitzing in there.
How about defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder calling an all-out blitz? And that's a 10-second runoff, so the game's over.
And that is it. Notre Dame survives Stanford 17-14. Again, it's the 10-second runoff that got us to zeros with 6 seconds left. And Notre Dame escapes. So for the second straight time, down to Catherine.
All right, Dan, thank you. Coach, 4th and 11, your quarterback decides to go for it, hits Ben Koyak in the end zone. That ended up being the difference in this game. What can you say about Everett Golson in a clutch situation like that?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where you just got to keep battling. It wasn't perfect today against a very good Stanford team, but you know, the mark of a really good football team is you just keep battling to the very end, and he stayed alive and found Ben Koyak in the corner of the end zone with a great throw, and we just battled all day. Like I said, the conditions were tough out here today. We missed some scoring opportunities, Our defense battled, they battled. Two good football teams found a way to make a great play at the end of the game.
What does a win like this mean for your team against the #1 ranked defense in Stanford?
Well, again, it's one of those things where I think our team gains some confidence. They know that they can obviously move the football against anybody. Again, we left a lot of points out there that we needed to get against a very good team, but we're happy with the win. We're going to have to get better. We've got a tough road ahead of us, North Carolina next week, but we're going to enjoy this one.
5-0 to start the season. Coach, congratulations on the win today.
Thanks, Catherine.
So on a key day in college football when we knew some unbeatens were going to go by the wayside, Notre Dame remains unbeaten. For Brian Kelly's full press conference, you can go to NBCSports.com. Next Saturday, the Irish return as Notre Dame takes on North Carolina. Coverage begins 3 Eastern time here at NBC. For our entire NBC crew, Dan Hicks saying so long from Notre Dame Stadium. Irish 17, Cardinal 14.